Hey there, and welcome to Mindful. It's a podcast where we can take a few minutes to fill our mind with stuff that matters. I mean, like the good stuff, I feel like. And I'm Liz, and I am joined today with a world traveler of sorts, I would say. John Stanley is here with me, but he's not a world traveler for fun, which I'm sure you do have some fun.
A little
on these
bit. Yeah,
trips.
we do that from time to time.
Yeah, but you are
Yeah.
traveling
Yeah.
for global outreach. And so I'm
Yeah.
super excited to talk to you about that a little bit today
Yeah.
because you've been doing this for a while, doing mission trips, global outreach. How long have you been in the global outreach missions?
In the global outreach world as a job or as a career, I've done that since 2007.
Okay.
But before that, I would take students down to Mexico for our annual mission trip down there, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders,
All
for a
right.
week building houses down in Reynosa, Rio Bravo, and places like that in Mexico. So, been
So,
doing it a while, since
yeah.
97.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like you're a pretty good person talking to us
Yeah.
about all the things.
Uh-huh.
So tell me, let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, how did that first conversation happen for you, or spark your interest to like, hey, I think I want to go on this trip or take these kids on a trip?
Yeah, so it's interesting because when I was before I entered into the middle school ministry as a role or as a career, I was a volunteer in the middle school here at our church, and we essentially had an opportunity to engage with one or two as a volunteer to go down on the annual mission trip to Reynosa in the summertime, and so I said I want to go. And we were serving already in that ministry, but we really hadn't been, I had never been on a mission trip before. So this was my first mission trip in 1997. And I went down with the middle school students and had a blast. Just hanging with them for one, that was just really, really fun to do that. But then secondly, to see what the difference that people can make in a world where poverty is rampant.
Right.
And that's across the border from Texas in the colonias where they're building houses on top of dumps in the ground on the ground there where people are just they're more like people that have just come in to live for a while and created some sort of shelter. So we would go down and build a house. But to finish that week and see what the students had done and to see the relationships that we'd made with the family, because we were with that family all week long, building alongside them,
Yeah.
even. It was just such a blessing. And I said, I've got to do this more.
That's
I've got to
awesome.
do this again. And so went back the next year
Yeah.
and then came on as the middle school pastor and went for 8 years more to Mexico every year. And it got in my spirit and in my blood, so to speak, that I had to do this. I had to do this all the time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have so many stories
Oh, yeah.
as well. So, is there like a story or an experience that just really impacted you, or maybe impacted somebody that you were with?
Yeah, I would say obviously many of them on mission trips specifically, because you're always mindful and you're always in that serving spirit more than you would be, say, if you were at home,
Yes.
hanging out at your
For
house
sure.
or whatever. Your spirit is more in tune with what God wants you to do and how He's giving you the opportunity to make a difference in this place. And I recall this one gentleman that we were building a house for, and he was basically confined to his recliner. He couldn't move, he couldn't walk. And we had students that it was a blessing because we had students that would come around him and would help him and realize his need for just companionship. He lived by himself and had nobody really there. So it's funny because they would spend way more time with him, hanging out with him, talking with him, than they would building the house.
Yeah,
But that was
but
okay
get to work.
because we always said, hey, if the family shows up, if they're gone and they show up while we're working, then we stop. Everything stops,
That's awesome.
and we relate to the family. And so they just took it upon themselves to continue to just care for him and love him. And I know that he appreciated it. And for me, seeing that from students and them doing that it was a blessing to me.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
something that I learned from as an
Yeah.
adult, how to really care for people.
Yeah, like people before task, especially
Yes.
when you're like, we have to get this done, we have this much
Exactly,
time, but like
exactly.
the people matter so
Yeah.
much more, and that's really what you're doing it for at the end of
Absolutely.
the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talked a little bit about being uncomfortable, and it feels like like it's so easy to be so comfortable where we're at here and just like in our bubble and doing what we need to do and taking care of this. And it feels like a lot, right? So it's like, first of all, it's the mindset of like, okay, I need to step out of that, my comfort zone. And then you're saying like all you see then are other people. It feels like the vision is not in a tunnel anymore. It's kind of like outside of yourself. And that's
Right.
kind of what
Yeah.
it's. So how do we get like out of our comfort zone? Because it's so hard. How do we say, oh yeah, I want to do that. Like, how do we
Yeah.
take that step?
It is hard to do, and I think the solution could be to that. If we have some fears of going across to another country where they speak a different language, and we
Yes.
feel like there's nothing I can do for them, I don't have anything to help them with, or I'm just afraid of going outside of my comfort zone. I think the best way to resolve that is to forget about, for a time being, going there and go here. Find opportunities that are local, because we live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is very ethnically diverse, and there are opportunities for us to engage people, even through Chase Oaks, through our local goods center, places like that, where you can go and take those first steps into easing into, a comfort zone of being
Right.
with somebody that you don't know, and loving them and caring for them and serving them. So I would say, don't even, unless you know that that's what God's
Yeah.
called you to,
Unless
don't
you're, like,
even,
being drawn.
yeah, don't
That's
even
a
go
great
there.
point.
Start here
Okay. That's a
and
great point.
get your feet wet and just realize what it's really all about. And it's all about you and your spirit in tune with God's, and then reaching out to the people that He loves and caring for them.
That's
so
awesome.
start local, I would say.
That's a great step. And we have so many opportunities, I know,
Oh, yeah.
here at Chase Oaks and so many in the community.
Yeah.
And, when I think of mission trips or getting involved, I don't know why my mind does go to students. Like what is it?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's so many opportunities for us older, adults.
Yeah, right.
So
Right.
like, do you see a lot of older adults, or is it, how do we feel like, what if we've never done it before? Or, how do we kind of get into that without feeling I missed out when I was a student, I can't
Yeah.
do it now.
And it's true. There, in our church and other churches around the country, around the world, really, students are, sometimes they're a little more gung ho about doing
Right.
things, and they just do things impulsively, right? And so
Yeah.
they're ready to go. But us adults, we're a little more reserved, and so we tend to not just be ready to jump in and ready to do that. But that's okay, because as adults, we actually really are more capable sometimes because of finances that we have now, that could afford to go somewhere that we maybe couldn't go when we were younger. But there are opportunities for us as adults then to really engage the world, because out of our wisdom that we now have, and our insight, we're able to maybe see it a little differently than even a student does. A student will see it as a great opportunity to go and serve and love, but they're also seeing it as, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. It's a little different.
Yeah,
when
this
you're
is going to be
I'm gonna
fun,
go with
hanging
my
out, hanging with my
friends.
buddies,
Yeah,
and
no,
just going out and having a good time.
That's
So I would say, as adults, man, we need adults, because we need students, and we need adults also to come alongside a wave of people that are out there that we need to serve. And so as an adult, we have many opportunities to do that. We have La Paz, Honduras to go as adults. You've been on a trip with
Yes.
your son down in
Yes.
Nuevo Laredo.
Yes.
Your husband's been down there with him as well. And
that's a good one too, to not
Yes.
go too far,
Yes.
or kind of stay a
Yeah.
little bit closer by, like if you're not ready to go across the,
Yeah.
what like
That's a
what I
great
really
trip
like
for
that.
families, moms and kids, dads and kids, the whole family. We had a family of 4 that went this last time. We have a family of 5 that are going, grandmother and mother and 3 kids that are going to Nuevo Laredo
That's
New
so
Year's
cool.
Day.
Oh, and I think
Yeah.
thinking about it too, more of like it can be an individual or it can be a family. It kind
Yes.
of opens up the gates a little bit there, that
Yeah.
you can do it together and community and connected.
And what better way to do that than with your family, right?
Yeah, that's
And because the people you live around all the time,
Right.
you're all going down there, and you're living down there for a season, for a week or whatever. And then you have those experiences that you can draw back on and talk about for years and years and years with your family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So real quick, I know you just came back.
Yeah.
So can you tell me anything like about your trip that you just went on to Egypt?
Yeah.
I know you've talked a little bit just about what's happening there and how Chase Oaks and like what you've
Mhm.
seen Chase Oaks, impact that we've been making
Yeah.
that we haven't been able to see, but you actually just came back from there. Is there
Yeah.
anything like that really sticks out that you can tell us?
Yeah, sure. I think the thing that sticks out most is just seeing what we may consider not much,
Mm-hmm.
that money that we give and support the funds that they're working with over there is huge to them. And so we always have to keep in mind that what we're doing is little, but it means the world to them. It's a
Yeah.
ripple effect. So there are opportunities that they have now to live a life of self-sustaining, where their kids can go to school, they can have a home, their family's good, they have clothing, they have food, they have everything they need because of a small amount that we have given to them as a church. And so you break that down to each of us as individuals, we have the opportunity to support that fund that sends money over there as well to make a difference. We may not ever see that. I get the pleasure of seeing it.
Yes.
Other people don't. But I just couldn't tell you how many times I've seen the positive benefits of people at Chase Oaks giving to the indigenous leaders around the world. And it's a blessing.
That's awesome. It's so cool that you get to see that and
Yeah.
come back and tell us those stories. And I
Yeah.
have so many pictures of just empowering people to be able to be sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Like where they can buy their own goats or whatever that
Yeah.
is. And then it's just so nice to know that what we're doing here is impacting people so far
It's
away.
making
So
a difference for sure.
so is there one last thing that you would, make sure before we go that everybody knows about global missions, about how to get them involved, about
Yeah.
what's that last thing?
Um, I would probably just borrow from the old Nike slogan, just do it. You know,
Okay.
just get out there and find opportunities to serve, whether it's in your local school, mentoring a child, or serving teachers, or going to the local good center, the pantry, serving there. Just get out and get outside of your own life and experience what others are going through and see the hardness, the difficulties that they have. And then that makes us more willing to give to them, but also makes us more thankful to God for the blessings He's given us and the fruit that we have because of our relationship with Him. So I'd say just do it.
Just do it. I love that. Okay, well, just do it. And if you have any questions or you need more information about anything we talked about or global outreach, we have all that information. It should be in the description box below. Also, we'd love for you to come join us some weekend if you're in the Dallas area. We'd love to meet you at one of our services here at Chase Oaks, so you can also check that out below as well. And thank you so much, John, for all you do
I enjoyed it.
impact
Yeah.
so many people for so many years too.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.